Hello guys, and here it comes again, just like that, back to Tuesday, whole weekend gone. Just a quick one, next week the weekly vlog will be a bit shorter, as you know, it's safari time, so I'm not going to be back to work until Wednesday, so it'll be a shorter vlog next week. Not that I do one on a Monday, but it'll be one day short, just so you know. So I may as well start on that point. First of all, how's everyone's weekend been? Had a good weekend. Like I mentioned, it was my birthday on Friday. Didn't do anything. Just on Sunday evening, we had somebody to look after Olivia, and me and Holly went for an Indians. I forgot their name. They're in Whitley Bay. If you know where Whitley Bay is, I had to get a name, but I swear I do recommend them. Very, very nice. And I'm not massively keen of curries and stuff to start with, but it was the first time I got one of those sizzler plates in a Indians. So rather than getting like a curry, you get it on like this boiling hot sizzling plate, and it's all the chicken tikka, lamb kebab and stuff like that, and that's much more up my street. I don't know why. I think the reason why I've never done it before, generally on a menu they're like 20 and 30 quid, where we went on an offer night. I'm not sure if the bollocksed up or not, but I got that, so it was lovely. Definitely more up my lines of enjoying an Indians over eating a full curry, because it doesn't agree with us. So anyways, on to the point of what we're doing on the week. We've got the A6 in. I haven't got much I want to do. I've already checked the power steering, which was a bit of an issue with it when I bought it. That seems to be holding the level okay. But what I have got in it, just in case we have any problems on the way, in fact, I need to set myself a reminder to carry a code reader with us, which I've got at home. Got this proper Audi power steering fluid. I mean, if it's something bursts, then you're knackered. But that's just enough just to keep topping it up while I'm away. And I've just reminded myself one of these number plate lights was starting to play up again. Not that I care, but it's the fact that it sets an annoying light up on the dashboard. So that's that. What I am going to do with it is what I've done on the other side, just along this leading edge here, where the moisture sits. It's not actually, I might not even bother on this side. It's more on the front door, because I've adapted the front doors. I've ripped off this. There was a big piece of rubber used to sit here, and it's a really stupid idea, because what it does, it traps in moisture, and if you look on that sill there, it's just starting. So all I do is just scrape off the top surface, treat it with a bit of cure rust, like there, you see, just to stop it, like the salt, because this is where the main salt sits. Just going to strip it back, put a layer of cure rust on, and then a layer of the 8-year black hammerite, like I've done on the other side. Just preventative, like I've said. I'm not doing anything to be along the lines of a show car like here. It just had the black hammerite put on, but that will definitely keep it right over the winter, as it has done on my Mercedes for the last, 2 years. Using the silver, obviously, on the arches on that. That's to another level of extreme, but you know what I'm saying. There you see, I've already done it on this side. Just nice and protected from the elements. So yeah, that's that pretty much done, really. I've just wanted to do a few bits on it, check the tyre pressures. I've done everything else on it, because it's quite a drive, actually. We're going to have to be up quite early, because I think they open at 10. And bearing in mind, people, when you've got 2 young kids, you can't just go off sat-nav times, you've got to stop, stuff like that. So I've got a plan in place. We're going to set off, I've decided, obviously I live up in Northumberland, I'm going to do A69, M6, and then let the sat-nav do the rest of the way down there. I'll do a bit of a research on the maps. But my sister and her husband went down last weekend, and they went down for some reason on the A1, stopped at Weatherby Services, and right round down Leeds, Bradford or something like that. So I don't think I could be bothered with that. Because he said it was 20 minutes less on the sat-nav, again, with 2 young kids, 20 minutes can be up the wall when you're stopping all the time for them. So definitely for me, the A69 does me head in a bit, because I get sick of the idiots on the single carriageway sections overtaking and stuff. It's all average speed camera vans sitting all over. Just keep to the limits. And to be honest, them kind of roads, 60 in the areas it's 60 is enough. Any fast, but it does my head in on them on the A69, because you've got these flipping, you're doing 60 and you've got some 44-ton Arctic up your arse, and it's like, look mate, piss off. You drive this road every single day. You probably know every corner of it. I know you're on a time schedule. The person in front isn't. They may not have ever drove that road before. They don't know. And that really annoys me with drivers in areas where you're familiar with the area, somebody else isn't, and what's the problem? If they're doing 50 in a 60, yeah, they're taking the piss, aren't they? But if you're doing the limit, just back off and just leave people alone. And that's what does me with driving today. It's like, I want to do fast speeds, I want to speed, so the car in front doing the limit, I'm going to intimidate them. It's like, why? What is the point? I agree if they're driving like an idiot, like really slow, I don't agree with tailgating, but make your presence known. But if they're driving at the limit, especially if you're on a van or a truck, which should only be doing 50 anyway, back off. So that's my only thing I hate with that road, mainly when I tow the caravan, because when you've got the caravan on the back, the limit is 50. The same as what it is for HGVs. They should not be. And anybody in a commercial vehicle, from a caddy van to the long wheelbase transit, to the skip lorry, to an Arctic, to the caravan, or a trailer, it's 50, not 60. And what annoys me is, again, you've got your lorry drivers, etc., etc. I have got my HGV license, guys. I ain't talking from not experienced. I do know that. I have done it. And they're tailgating somebody with a caravan on doing 50 to make them go faster. It's like, you're in a much less stable vehicle. A caravan is not really the best on the road, and most people tow them with little like Astras and stuff and Vectras. They're not really up to the job, and it's like 50 is enough. They're tailgating you because they do that road every day. They've got many hours of driving experience. They're a professional driver. Tailgating you? Not really. But, they're professional drivers. And it really does take the joy out of that road on the A69 for me. I used to really enjoy driving it. But now, it's just full of really impatient idiots who either are in big vehicles intimidating you to make you go faster, or you've just got your idiots in cars overtaking at every single opportunity, putting everybody in danger to gain seconds. It's been proven time and time before, and I have proved my point with this when I've done convoys with people driving to places. Unless you could say, for example, when you get onto the M6 at Carlisle and you're pretty much down to Lancashire, Blackpool way, it's pretty much non-stop the whole way. So if you want to plant your foot and do 100, 120 the whole way on the M6, yes, you're going to get there in half the time if somebody doing 60 or 70. But on roads like the A69, you get nowhere because you overtake somebody and you just get round a corner and there's a tractor, a bus, whatever, a caravan again. There's no point. So I've proved it time and time again, just keep to the limits, because there's just no point. And you may say, well, you never speed down. I don't really now. I have put my foot down the odd time. Just don't bother. Enough waffling on. What's your experience of that? Because I just find now, whenever you get onto single track roads nowadays, you've got somebody tailgating you to wanting you to go what speed they want to. But like I keep reminding my partner, she does that. Somebody tailgates her, and then she speeds up, and I say, Holly, your car's the one in front. These speed camera, the old-fashioned cameras get you from the number plate at the back, but all these new modern speed cameras, police camera vans, get you coming head on. I said, so you speed up for them, their number plate's covered, and they don't get done. So they're getting it both ways. They're getting you to speed up, and you're getting the ticket for them. So, no, peer pressure, tailgating, not for me. So anyways, I just thought I would run through that. That's what we've got planned for the weekend. So I am looking forward to getting away early, get across that A69 before it gets busy, get onto the M6 at Carlisle, and there's, Killinworth, something, I can't remember the name. I'm sure it's Killinhorn Lake. It's got the McDonald's, it's the motorway services on the M6. Stop there at McDonald's, get a McDonald's breakfast, have a toilet break with the kids, and I'm hoping from there we should be able to do the rest of the journey non-stop. But once I pass Blackpool, it's been a long time since I've been anywhere near Manchester, Liverpool way. So what I'm debating doing is do the A69 onto the M6, and then stop at the lake, get my breakfast, and I think I'll get Holly to do that stretch. It's literally 100 mile. As long as there's not traffic or an accident, you hit that cruise control, and you don't even need to hit the clutch or the brakes for 100 mile non-stop. Once we get near the Blackpool way, I'll get her to pull over, and then I'll take over the drive and do it there. Mainly just to keep an eye on what's going on ahead, keep the kids entertained, give her a bit of a break from parenting duties to doing a bit of driving. So yeah, and let us know your thoughts. Shall I do a little bit of filming? Would you like to see before we set off in the morning, when we stop at the lake, when we get to the safari park, a bit round Blackpool, up the tower, depending on how busy it is, clearly. I can't really do much filming when I've got hundreds of people around us at Blackpool, but we'll see. I'll put a little bit in there. I've talked about it enough. I've bought enough cars, promising you guys it's going to be the safari car, and it hasn't been. This one actually is. And no, I've decided I'm going to go the car-friendly route. I'm too fond of the Audi. People have said take the Mondeo. The Mondeo's great. I've done 200 or 300 mile on that this weekend. Just not quite fully trusting that one yet to go down there where the Audi hopefully is, touch wood, fully sorted for that. So yeah, I'm going to go through the car-friendly route, and my sister's husband tells us that you can get a minibus and go through the monkey bit, which we'll do. Yeah, so I'll catch you soon. I'm just going to quickly go through what we're doing on this Audi now. We'll go through this. Got this Eco Sport or something in. I don't know what to think of these things. They're based on a Fiesta, so they're not bad mechanically. I'm going to say I've never really paid any attention to them and I don't really care. But I'm actually going to say they're probably not a bad car. I just maybe find them a bit pointless, having something so small and so high. But with the little, especially this one, the newer ones of getting rid of this, with the spare wheel on the back, do you know what? I kind of give it a thumbs up. I've never thought about it, I've never paid any attention to them. They don't really interest us in a way. But would I own a one in years to come when they're cheap? Probably yes. With definitely this is a very early one on a 15. But with, see, all them flies, they're all alive. With the spare wheel on the back like that, looking old school, yeah, definitely I would. The ones without the spare wheel on, no, I probably wouldn't. It sounds stupid, but I would have it just for that, because I think it's just cool having the spare wheel on the back like that. It's just nice. And again, the Eco Boost ones, the 1 litre Eco Boost, which this isn't. A little bit of corrosion starting there. The ones with the Eco Boost 1 litre in, definitely wouldn't touch one with a barge pole. This is the 15 or 1600 diesel Citroen engine, which is not bad actually. I would definitely have the diesel version of it, or the bigger petrol versions if they even do them, the 1600 or the 1600 Eco Boost. But there's certainly been some, what shall we call that? DIY, maybe? Wow, that actually paint runs coming down. That's some of the worst painting I have seen in a long time. Yeah, but anyways, this is just in for an oil change. Here's some more, a little bit better. I'll show you this when it's in the garage. Oh, it's actually open. I do quite like the higher up position, I suppose. If I suppose people with disability issues and mobility issues. In the dashboard, just your standard Fiesta really, which nothing wrong with it. This car is based on a Fiesta, which is, what I would actually say, not a bad thing at all. A cracking car. So yeah, that's that. Onto the Audi A3. Pretty just bottom spec, but with a few weird options on it, which I don't understand. So obviously, I don't even know what the class these as specs now. So very uninteresting wheels. But it has got a few options on it, which I find a bit strange. But yeah, this is your 1600 diesel. Probably on this year be free road tax. On this year as well, just misses out on AdBlue. But again, I was telling you about the direct injection petrols. Now look at how clean diesels are nowadays. You could eat your dinner off that. In fact, that is clean drinking water. Just about. They're not drinking water, but you know what I mean. Pure as you can get water in that exhaust. So yeah, that's how clean diesels are running now. So I know you've got your NOx and stuff, but diesels really are unbelievably clean now. Like, compared to the old Audi here, which is clean, but you get a look in there, and that's proper soot. I mean, I'm just going to touch it a little bit, but there you go. Minging. But that's normal for them. I'll just check this isn't the AdBlue one. No, it isn't. Just misses out on the AdBlue, thankfully. Yeah, so that's your A3, but it's got a few strange little specs on it, which is bi-xenon headlights, which are an expensive upgrade with the headlight washers. we'll do a little test on one of them. Why? Because Dan's sad. That's going to be my thing. Guys, I try not to mention other people's big names on my channel, because they don't mention me. But I will say, Hubnut, will have all have heard of him before. His little fascination is wipers, as we all know. The triangle of doom, right? For me, my little fascination is headlamp washers. All the different types that you can get. We've seen with the Jeep the other day, just had the little turret. The Volvos and stuff have wipers. And there's all sorts of different... Like, some of these come out and then they move. Some of them just come out and they go there. Others are like down here and the spray. So, all different. Obviously, we've got them, and like my A6 has got them. Because it's got the winter pack. And it's quite interesting to know as well, by just... This is how sad I am. Normally... Not on this case, because I think this has just been an optional upgrade on this car, rather than a standard spec. But what you always know, first up, immediately, is if you see headlamp washers on a car, like that, you know it's got what you call the winter pack. So you've got your headlamp washers, that will also be connected to heated windscreen washer jets, and normally, on the VAG range at least, is heated seats, which, obviously, this has got, you see? So, yeah, heated seat. So just buy a car, like a Golf or something, drives past me, and I see little gaps here, I'll straight away go, well, that's got the winter pack on, which will mean it's either got heated seats, or it's got bi-xenons, because by law, to have bi-xenon headlights, you need to have headlamp washers. This has got factory fit, not factory fit ones, but it's got them, but it gets you away good for the MOT, because when it's got a headlamp washer and an HID, as long as the beam pattern's correct, and you can't see any remnants of aftermarket fitted, you've just got to pass an advice, because you can't assume things with MOT. So yeah, so that's a little top tip. If you see a car with headlamp washers on, 9 times out of 10 it'll have factory fitted bi-xenons, and usually it'll have the winter pack with heated seats. It's kind of the same across the board, really. Even like that RAV4 the RAV4 my dad got, that's got the winter pack, heated seats, headlamp washers. It's the same with Volvos. Normally, if you look on a Volvo, if they haven't got the little wipers or a headlamp washer, they'll not have heated seats as a rule. So it's just a weird thing of just looking at a photograph of a car that you don't know anything about, and you haven't even read the description, by just seeing a little headlamp washer tells you a lot about the spec of the car on the inside. So there you go, there's a little tip. We'll do that shortly. But yeah, this is just for service, MOT. Just had an oil and filter change, and it's going for MOT. There's nothing really to go about it other than that these headlamps, just remember, if you do want the factory fitted bi-xenons, they're good to have, but they come with a lot of governs. Like on the front and rear suspension, there's little sensors which cost a fortune when they go wrong. The bulbs cost nearly 150 quid on these when they go wrong. And you just find they're good to have, but expect problems with them. So what we've been on with this as well, I've just had the key out, because it was coming up with a whole load of codes on the dashboard and fault warnings. Just pushing the lift, guys, just bear with us. It was coming up that the key fob was a flat battery. But again, 2017 nearly this, 66, 2006, 10 years between these vehicles, and the keys are identical. So I had it fresh in my mind. I've just put a fresh Duracell battery in the remote, but just to show you, so you know I'm not making it up. 2006, yeah, clearly it's worn, because it's done 170,000 mile. But there you go, there's 2 Audi keys. It just goes to show, Volkswagen, VAG, always like to change things around, but that's telling you something. 66, 06, 10 years, and they're still sharing technology, and this is why I'm honestly just been saying to the guy before about this A6, if I put my private plates onto this thing, you really could say this car is a 15, 16 plate. If, you know, the experts and people who are interested will say, no, it's a C6, A6, but if you sat in it and felt around, obviously a bit lower mileage one, this car, you really wouldn't be able to tell a great deal of difference from this. Mainly, it's like the more, like even this has got the full colour MMI screen in, and so is this. But there's one thing I don't like about these new Audis, which I'll show you. I'm going to do the service light reset on this, but when you get in, for a start, the seats are very uncomfortable. So like I said, with this, it's a bit of a basic spec one. So it's really weird, the fact it's got those bi-xenon headlamps on such a basic spec car. like I've said, that's why you don't get the heated seats, because it's literally just been spec'd. It's probably just been a press car or something, or a demonstrator for those headlamps when they were first coming out. So naturally with this, you've got the new symbol. I can't see that because of the sun. You don't have front fog lights anymore. You have what you call bad weather lights, poor weather lights. So they're now no longer under the MOT. So when you put these on, they basically just shine down around the corners of the car, so it gives you more illumination. And I think that's what this car must have been a demonstrator for the new headlamps. But what I don't like is this screen. Obviously in my Audi, it's permanent. So every single time you put the key into this vehicle, which I'm doing now, trying to at least anyway with one hand, switch it on, the screen comes up. Every single time you take the key out, the screen goes down. Now you just tell me, and see that little cover coming over, you just tell me that's not going to be problems. Why not just leave a fixed screen? Why does it need to pop out the dashboard, have all them motors and sensors? Then when it does go wrong, it'll probably be a right pain to get out. I think this area here will pop out. But nevertheless, it's going to cost you money, isn't it? So you got your iDrive system, electronic handbrake. But what we're going to do now, which I can't see nothing because the sun is alright. I'm not complaining for this time of year. But as you can see, it's coming up. Oil change and inspection due. So we need to plug the scanner into it and reset it. And what it was coming up with in big yellow writing at the top was that the key fob battery was flat. 2032 battery, Duracell one in there. That's sorted out now. Just gets rid of all of these beeps and warnings coming up. So I'm just going to get the scanner out and I'll show you what we do. Yeah, so just quickly, I want to show you what these cornering bad weather lights are, as you can see on green there. These are, so you've got your main headlamp on here, as you can see, that's your running light, that there, and it's that bulb in there. It's actually not LED on these, believe it or not, it's just like a normal H7 bulb. So all that does is just shines light down there and down there. Quite a good idea actually, because you can drive with them. Unlike fog lights blinding people, you can actually drive with these on while you're coming towards people, because all it's doing is just shining it down there and shining it down there, rather than in a straight line and up into people's face. So it's actually a good idea, because you can drive with them on under poor driving. That's exactly what it is, poor driving condition lights. We're just going to leave them on. I'm just going to come back in a second. I'm going to get the scanner and I'm going to get my dad to do a demonstration and pull the thing on the headlamp washers. If you don't like that, guys, just say, Dan, you're sad, you're pathetic, but I find it amusing. Right, guys, I'll just got the scanner on here. I'll get my dad to do a demonstration. Before you say anything, it's actually part of the MOT for this year of vehicle anyway, so they need to be checked. So I'm just going to plug the machine in now. As you can see, we're onto it there. So auto oil reset, which is doing, there we go, okay. And then there's another one on these, which you go back to on a dual one, so it's oil and inspection, because remember I was saying oil and inspection. Press that, okay, and back. And I do believe on this car there's a glow plug. I'm just going to check, do a scan and do that, but I'll do that off camera. And do that scan. So now, when we switch the ignition off, now it just tells you that's the usual message that comes up, and back on. There's no warning about the service and no warning about the key. So that'll be nice now for the owner to not have to have that beeping up in his face every time. So now a quick demonstration of the headlamp washers. Well, my dad's busy. I don't know if it'll actually do it with me, if I can get round to it, but we'll give it a try. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. On this occasion, I don't think it will. We shall give it one more go, and that's it. Now, I'm sure a lot of these you've got to be driving on them. They've actually changed. You can, again, on VAGCOM and stuff, you can change the settings on these so that they actually only activate when you're driving. I should know that because I've done all that with the A6. You can actually change it on VAGCOM to a VCDS to actually doing it when you're driving, how many times you want them to spray. Like on the Audi, it was down as 3 times to spray, and that would nearly empty your tank when you're on a long drive, so I've reduced that now to just one time, and you can get them so they go, because what happens is when they both pop out when you're driving and spray, it blinds you for a minute until the wiper's clear. So on that, it was doing it 3 times, blinding you. So now on the Audi, I've programmed that to go left one, then right one, or you can go, you know, left one, right one, left one, right one, instead of both of them going at the same time. So that's all. This has been programmed from the factory to be able to not spray them while stationary, which was wasting water. Obviously, you only really want them on while you're moving. So that's the only thing. It's just how it's been programmed. Going to leave that there now, guys. I'm going to get on, do a scan on this, have a look at the glow plug. We've got the little Eco Sport on. I'll come back to you and show you that later. Catch you soon. Right, welcome back. I just thought I'd quickly show you the Audi before it goes. Been a bit of a development. As I mentioned, remember with my Audi with the glow plugs, yeah? 06 plate in the glow plugs set the engine management light up, not part of the MOT. This Audi has got exactly the same problem as mine. It's got one glow plug off, but because it's a 66 plate, it's older than 08 obviously. Just because that's got a glow plug off, it would fail its MOT. So you could have a massive hole in the floor or a wheel hanging off, which could potentially kill somebody and cause an accident, and it would fail, clearly. But now, you can fail an MOT over something as simple as a glow plug, which has no effect really on the emissions or anything like that, or starting. It does, I suppose, help warm up time, but to fail an MOT over a glow plug, I find, is pathetic. But when you've got the engine management light on the dashboard, you can't have it. So I've just been on and changed it. Just want to show you a few things. What I've done first, I don't know why, I don't have any kind of preferences, but this has seemed to work the last few times very well. You've all heard it, plus gas, Formula A. First thing I did was fill the chamber. Right, actually the first thing I did with the high pressure airline was blow the rubbish out of it so nothing fell in. Filled the chamber, which is here, with penetrating fluid, and then ran the engine when I had the scanner on right up to 90 degrees and let it stand. You've got to get them hot. And I had to have a bit play. Obviously, I get me down on it, to be quite honest, because the last few I've done have come away nice, and if these snap in the head, it's game over. So yeah, I did my opinion of it. I said it's a bit tight. I don't want to push it any further, because if that snaps, you are in a world of pain basically. So luckily it came away. I've just fitted that back in there, this time greased it up with high temperature grease, bit of silicone grease on the connector. And what I have done, if you notice, is I've gone round with good old fashioned engine oil in an old pumpy can and just put a little drop in all the other ones, because no doubt they'll be, really the best way is change them all, but this one here has got the pressure sensor. That's about £150 for that one, and the other ones are regularly priced. Really, I could go and do them all, but this guy's not really wanting to spend a lot of money, so I've just simply done what it requires for the MOT, which is glow plug number 4, which was the fault, but I have put a bit of oil in the other ones just in case they go off in the near future, just to help it. Having all them weeks and months of oil soaking into them definitely helps to take them out dry. I'll just show you the old one. Not a great deal to see, it's just a glow plug. Baru obviously, which is what they're fitted with from the factory, and there it is there. So there you go, that's done, as well as obviously resetting all the codes, all the rest of it. And like I've mentioned, cars with DPFs like these, it is quite important to have the glow plugs working, because it can affect the regen. It mustn't do on these, because it must be the Citroen Peugeots. Actually, that engine, what's in that, they're affected. But I've done enough of these now with glow plugs off, and they still seem to be regen okay. You've seen how clean the exhaust is on it. So that's that. Job done, code's wiped, ready to go. So he's got the key battery warning light off, the service light off, and the engine light off. It's nice to give somebody something back which will feel like a different car to them, you know. This little Eco Sport thing, I need to reset the service light on it, but the usual Citroen Peugeot awkwardness of these engines, you've got to take the whole air filter box out just to get to the oil filter. As I've mentioned, everything is crammed in with these, not a great deal of space. I don't know if this is the DV6 or the DV5, without checking. Doesn't really matter though. I think it'll be the 1600 one, but it's the 8 valve. It's the more reliable DV6. So there, click of a finger, it's off. So like I say, the whole airbox has to come out. Pathetic, really. Air filter pipe off, exposing the turbo. Unnecessary muck and stuff needing to be around there. Like, who designed something like that? And there's the oil filter buried in there. And that's still an awkward one to do, because they've got the little peg on. That's why I cannot stand these DV6 and DV5 engines. They really should have been redesigned a long time ago. I'm just looking at this one to try and find if it's the 16 or the 15, but by the looks of it, to me, it's probably the 1600 one, but converted to the 8 valve, which is a lot more reliable. But I've just been talking about glow plugs on that Audi out there. These are a nightmare. When the glow plugs go off on these DV6s, they can affect regens and stuff like that, so it's very important to get them done. And they're always tight, and they're buried right down the back of the engine. Pain in the arse. So yeah, going to get on. Don't really need to show you much. Get that oil filter changed, and that's all this is in for, oil and filter, and get the thing sent away. That's it for today, guys. If I do decide to strip down anything on the Audi when I get time this afternoon, I'll do a quick video, but I'll catch you later. Hello guys, and welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. Now, got a bit of a strange one in today, because all of the cars that are in have been or are mine. So there we go. I just thought I would show you around what's in today. Right, fairly we know the A6 that's in. I may as well show you updates. I keep telling you, I'm putting me projects into weekly vlogs. Just that edge of the sill on the top where the door used to catch it, I've just painted that with some hammerite just to protect it a bit. Charged the battery overnight because all these lights had been burning yesterday. Did a few adaptions with a number plate light. Adaptions, repairs basically. Just sorted them out. Checked all the levels, tyre pressures. I'm going to give the wheels a quick hand wash, and I may treat it to a quick wash. As you can see, it's rather dusty. Maybe towards the end of the week on Friday or something, I might just bang it through the car wash. Top tip, guys. These automated car washes, before everybody goes, oh, shock, horror, I am quite good with the car valet and stuff, but at the minute, I'm busy and away this weekend. But one top tip, if you ever take a car to these hand wash valeting places, I go to a place called ARC, and they're actually quite good. It's the semi-automated, semi-hand wash car washing places. Now the bristles and everything they use in them places, I will say, are top notch, and the finish that you get is great. But one thing, I mean, no, I didn't put my nice new Mitsubishi L200 through it, but with cars like this, you're not going to do any harm. As long as you're getting the better wash with a bit of wax and stuff on, they're worth it. But one thing, never, ever to get them to do, you know when you first go to these car washes and some guy's got like a weed sprayer thing, like a pumpy bottle, like that, and then they use the little spray that you go around spraying weeds with, and they go around and you'll see they just spray around the bottom of your car, and they do that, and they do a little bit there, and like that, and like that, and round the front, and you know where all the bugs are and stuff. That stuff's called TFR, traffic film remover. It's basically top-notch acid, really bad acid, and what that does is this: it damages all of the chrome, all of the alloy wheels, the headlamps, if you've got any protection on them like I have, it burns off all of that. So if you ever go to these hand wash car places, I mean, even here you can see where it's sprayed on, see those little dots, it even burns into the rubber. This is before I had the car, by the way, guys. So when I go to them places, when you come to your window to tell them what you want and stuff, say no acid, no TFR. Just say that to them, basically. No acid, no TFR, no spray. And 9 times out of 10, if they don't bloody listen to you, just keep the window open, and the minute they pick that thing up, just go, oi, 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 oi. No, don't want no acid, like that. Trust us, it's not worth it. Unless your car is absolutely full with like tree sap or tar or something like that, do not use that stuff on your car. I know people go on about it gets all the main imperfections off, but we're not wanting a showroom finish. I just want that layer of dust off just to make it look a bit more presentable for going away. That's it. And it'll probably be up the tits anyway after being a Blackpool of all. Right, the safari park, I don't know if that's muddy and whatnot. Like I said, I'm not having the monkeys jumping all over it. But once it's had a few days in Blackpool, if it's windy and stuff there, the mess the cars get in there, it's no wonder the rot to pieces with the salt that comes off the sea. So there's a bit of information, guy. Now, today's topic, I'm going to go around the cars. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about bulbs. So I'm just going to come through here now and show you. Got in. yeah, again, used to be, again, funny, Simon's car, who I got this off, used to own that, which I used to own originally, and then he bought it off us, had it for years, then I bought it back off him, had it for a year, and then my partner bought it off us, and she's had it now for about a year. Again, the unsung hero of the fleet, and I've got the Mondeo, the high mileage hero of the fleet, and the Audi is just, I really like that car. I'll be very reluctant to get rid of it, put it that way. And I know I say that about a lot of cars, but for what this car owes me, I think it would be absolute madness to get rid of it. Unless somebody offered us a price I simply could not refuse, which doesn't take much with me, but still, I do like it. Come on, you've got to admit that's a nice interior in there. Really is nice when you got all the sat nav on. And what I did discover the other night when I was driving it home in the pitch black dark, underneath these here, can you see that little white bar all the way that runs along there? That's got white LEDs in from the factory, and it shines down and lights up this whole door. Very, very dull, because like, you know, like ambient lighting, and lights all that. There's a little red light in there, but it's on every single door. So underneath, even the back ones, underneath those, it's got white light that just shines down. And obviously down there, it's got them underneath there, as you can see. And somebody has not just fitted white LEDs either, I must stress. The white LEDs underneath here, factory fitted LEDs, but I don't know if the camera can see in there. That's not like a bulb somebody's put in. And again, when you're opening up the doors, even the back doors, you've got, yeah, lights so people can see, like obviously see you. I'll have to turn the camera on, sorry guys, but you can see the light under there. And again, you've got a light under the seat. Oh, excuse me, I've dropped the phone. Light under there, and again, no, somebody has not just stuck them bulbs in off eBay. It is absolutely beautiful at night driving this car when you've got the nice white glow here, the red glow here. It's got all red lights in the roof, like two little red spotlights in there, and in there that shines down. It really is, definitely. In fact, even these light up red, those. It is just lovely at night in this car. Have to say, as much as I hate the new Audi interiors, because I think they're just so over the top, that for a 2006 car is on another level to anything I've ever owned for being such high quality in the interior and such a lovely feel at a night time. And I will praise this car better than any car I've ever owned for that. I've had S-Class Mercedes limousines. They didn't even do that. I had the older version. It was a O2 plate, S-Class L, the long wheelbase, the limousine. It had heated massaging back seats and everything. That didn't even have ambient lighting like this. That did. So anyways, funny we're speaking about that, this car is that as well. We had the design spec, this not the lighting under here, but it has the lights in the door handles, and this actually has a light underneath the driver's rear view mirror, and that shines light down. But yeah, just in for rear discs and pads. As you can see, the discs are getting in a state. This caliper's knackered at the back, so the handbrake's very poor on it. So rear discs and pads, and the caliper, it's desperate for that because the handbrake is really bad, and I'm concerned for Holly driving it. As you can see, the handbrake's coming right up. So yeah, this isn't doing too bad now, 125,000 mile. And she just keeps plodding along. While it's up on the lift, I'm going to give it a quick pre-MOT because it's due in December, just in case it needs anything daft. And it'll be due its service about December time as well. So yeah, going to crack on and get that done, guys. I'm not going to do too much filming because I want to get on and get it done. So now, my other car. Oh, remember this? The Civic. It's in really good nick underneath this. We've just been doing a bit of coating, as you can see, on the rear axle, which I'd already done anyway, just like a recoat. And obviously the proper twin pipes on these, even in the 1800 petrols, proper twin exhausts, which is lovely to see. Obviously the exhausts on these go along the driver's side and then round to that very expensive cat, which people like to nick. But yeah, a good nick this car underneath. Just in for MOT, checked it over, nothing to talk about. But what I do want to talk about is lights again. So I'll bring it down. Right, so just quickly before I take this Civic off the lift, I just want to run through about bulbs, HIDs, LEDs, and for MOT reasons, right? First up, there's a few rules that they have. Later cars, like this A6 and stuff, there's no big rules on them, so to speak. It's a minor. If the headlamp washers don't work, and they've got there's different rules on different years, so it's hard to fully go through them with you. But there's like older Volvos and stuff with headlamp washers with halogen headlamps. They're not part of the test. Now this A6 left me with just normal halogens. Now them headlamp washers are not part of the test of the. You don't even have to test them, to be quite honest. But the loophole becomes in. Well, actually, that's that. So if they don't have HIDs or LED lights, the headlamp washers are not testable. If they're factory fitted with HID lights, like this is, they've got headlamp washers and they have to work. Of a certain year, I have to read the manual with that, because we're getting into pathetic rules here about headlamp washers, which I don't really think should even be part of the test. So most of the new cars with LED lights don't even have headlamp washers, and somehow they've overcome the rules. But where they come into being funny is the state you're not allowed to use aftermarket LED or HID headlamps in non-approved lamp units. And us as testers are supposed to be magic and know this. So my rule of thumb is, I go along the lines of this: about as long as they've got headlamp washers and the beam image is correct and you can't see any kind of modifying under the or behind the light, you just pass and advise. As long as the beam pattern's correct and as long as the headlamp washers are. Now here we're dealing with two 2006 cars, right? Top end one and an average spec one, maybe a nice spec one. Now these are factory fit HIDs. These are not. So as a tester, you've got to think of a few things. Now, there's two options. Now, by the way, I will state, I have put these bulbs back in. I did take them out for the test because actually one of them was flickering and not working properly. So I'll put my hands up and admit this is not technically legit. So this one is actually, I'll show you on this one. This one's got headlamp washers, and you can see the bulb in there. Now, that little bulb, if you can see it, which I need to get a hold of, hasn't got a shroud. Now, I've adjusted these so you get a really good beam pattern. But what would improve that even more is if I got these are a D1, I think, a D1S. And if you get the ones with the S at the end, they have a shroud over the bulb. Now, if you look on this, the bulb has got a shroud over it. But if you, I don't know if you can, I'm not talking about this silver thing. I'm talking about the actual bulb itself. Can you see the clear bit of glass on the bulb and then there's like black stuff? It just looks a little bit like heat shrink. Now what they do is it's like a layer of that heat shrink on the bulb. So instead of the bulb just creating one ball of light, like a star, it focuses the light. So it's like a shutter you put over the bulb, and it just focuses the light in one area, which is what a halogen bulb would do. And they are totally legit. Now I need to get some because I just had to quickly hoy these back in for when I'm going away, because I want some decent light, because the halogens were shit and I couldn't get a hold of any of the ones with the shrouds on. So I'm going to take too long. I am actually going to do that in a few weeks time, but there's a little thing for you. So now if this car come in with the shroud over the bulb and headlamp washers, even though it's got aftermarket bulbs fitted, you would have to pass and advise it, because as long as you can't see no boxes down the back of the light, as long as it's got a correct beam pattern and the headlamp washers are there and working, you had no reason to fail it. Now this is a bit of a funny one, because they say you shouldn't put HID bulbs into non-projector units. By meaning projector, you'll know what I mean. They look like an eye. Now these are one of the few. These Civic Mark 8s and a Laguna Mark 2s, the Mark II Lagunas, are about the only, I think some of the Nissan X-Trails as well, some of the Nissan X-Trails, the older ones, come with factory fitted HIDs, obviously with headlamp washers, and what they use is like a cap that goes over, which is not unseen, because, sorry to keep moving around guys, like this Astra has just got standard halogens in, and they use these caps, as you can see there, the caps over the bulbs. So don't think that's anything to do special for HIDs, because that has it on, but yet this doesn't really make much sense. But just keep with us here. So what they do is, on here, is they use a cap over the bulb, a shroud over the bulb, and these are electronically controlled. Now this is where it gets funny, because my L200, a 19 plate car, had factory fitted by Xenons, but it had a mechanical adjuster, manual adjuster inside the car. So you might turn around and say, well, this one's not got factory fitted ones, but it's got an adjuster. You've got to disregard that because the L200 does that. So there's a few ways to know if they're factory or not. First of all, with these Civics, you just know straight away if they've got headlamp washers, they're factory fit, simple as that. So you've got your shroud over the bulb, the shroud over the actual bulb itself, and you've got no headlamp leveling device in the car. You know that's factory. You could crawl underneath and look on the suspension, which it will be somewhere hidden. I can't remember where. It'll probably be on the front suspension on these, I would think. Without us crawling under too much to see. I can't really get to it. I'll show you on the front. Yeah, so I'll show you. There is a lot more to it than what you think. Just up there, see that little, what looks like a ball joint? That little plastic thing. And at the back, you have a sensor there. With that little, tiny little drop, looks like a drop link. So there's a lot more than what you think on cars of just a headlamp. So just having them HID headlamps, you've got an electronic motor on them that you can't control from in the car. That's controlled by the suspension on the front of the back. So when the car goes up, down, the bulbs automatically move, so you don't blind people. You've got headlamp washers, you've got special shrouds, and all the rest of it. So there is a lot more than what you think to it. Like I've said, than just people banging a set of bulbs in and not even adjusting them or nothing. Now on this, I do a few things. Like I've said, guys, it's not legal in a way, but it went through with halogens in, and now it's until next MOT, it's fine. But what I am going to do is put the shrouded bulbs on, and that even as MOT tester, you can't do anything really about it. As long as you can't see any signs of tampering, which that isn't, as long as the bulb has a good beam image, the shroud will be over the bulb, and like I've mentioned, it's not such a big deal anymore about having the leveling devices in the car. But I'll show you what I do always do, which the switch should be in the position I left it at. There. It's on the down position, and you see it, 1. So I could have it at 0 and it goes up to 3. I always keep it at 1 so that it's down and it's below the threshold for the beam setter. And it does pick up a good beam image. So there we go. It doesn't blind people any more than any other car. So I just thought I'd do a bit of talking on bulbs. If you do fit HIDs, fit the ones, if you're fitting them to the non-projector light, which is these, non-projector lights, you know the difference, because the ones with the projectors look like a fisheye kind of thing. Fit the ones with the shrouds on. And if you level it up correctly, you shouldn't have too much bother getting it through the beam setting. Make sure that whatever device you use, I find LED bulbs are better because you don't have the ballast packs. So as an MOT tester, you have to inspect around the back of the headlamp if you can see it. You can't take nothing off, no covers. And if there isn't a box or a unit there to see, that's pass and advise. As long as you've got a shroud over the bulb and the beam pattern is correct, it's pass and advise, but not even advise really. In 9 times out of 10, if you've got the headlamp washers, hopefully you've got them. That's the only dodgy bit you can get to. But like I've mentioned, a lot of new cars now have them really high intensity lights, and the headlamp washers have seemed to have disappeared now from cars, which I don't know why. So that's that. I just thought I would do a bit of talking about bulbs, because a lot of people get very upset as they bang a set of HID bulbs in, don't set them up correctly, and then the MOT guy fails them because they've got a big ballast pack there, which is a failure because it shows that they've been tampered with holes in the back of the covers, the back end covers. They've got the, like I said, beam correct, totally incorrect, blinding everybody. They haven't got headlamp washers, all the things that you shouldn't have. So you just got to help the MOT tester and make sure nothing's there to see. Make sure you've done the beam pattern correctly. Go to the local garage, ask them, they might charge you a small fee just to check, just to use their beam setters. Or you can do it on a wall, to be quite honest. I did this years ago, and you just got to use, that's the beam pattern there. Like, as long as it keeps it on that line and the kick up doesn't go much above that arc. Very crude and rudimentary that, but it works. That's all you need to do. So that's enough yak about bulbs. Now, I was a bit disappointed yesterday because, like I mentioned, about hubbing up with these, what is it, the wipers, the triangle of doom are my things about headlamp washers. I find them mildly amusing. There's all different types. I said yesterday that Audi didn't work. I would do this, but I don't want all the water everywhere because I'm going to start doing a bit of work on it. But we will try it on the Civic, so I'll give it a pause. And here we go. First up, I just want to say, I was just talking about how nice the interior is on this. But I'm telling you what, close second contender, definitely. It's got to be the Mark 8 Civic. Just the way the things look, I think, is fantastic. But when you get into here, this is just lovely. I really do like them. This has got the full sat-nav again, updated. So we'll switch the ignition on. This whole thing all lights up. But come on, how cool is this, you know? I love this. Start button. That is just cool, in my opinion. Honda navigation system. Again, I put the new disc into that. This one's got all the cruise control, Bluetooth. Such a cool interior on these, which in my opinion have simply just not aged whatsoever. That's just showing you up there with the new updated map on it. But again, normally you would have the headlamp leveling device here on these, because this is factory and we'll switch them on. You'll see they come up like a big kind, like the flicker and then come on, and that's totally normal. As you can see, they come up as like daylight basically on my trousers there. But what we'll do, we'll just have a bit of headlamp washer fun, why not? Because I'm a child. There we go. How childish is that? But it is cool. It is a cool feature, I've got to say. As you get showered. And again, as part of the MOT, you've got to check that they're working, which they well and truly are working. So there we go. I've done a light check on this. I'm going to crack on now, get the Astra on the lift, get that stripped down. I might quickly show you a before and an after, but definitely not a during, because I need to get on and do it, because my partner has been out and is using the high mileage hero today. She's never driven a car with over 200,000 miles before, and she took it out last night shopping to Aldi, just to get a feel for it on her own. And she's took it to work today, and she's loving it actually. I says it's not bad, is it, for an old girl? So I've even got Holly's approval on the Mondeo, and she never ever likes driving my old bangers, as they get called. So yeah, I'll catch you soon when I've got that stripped. Right, just a quick update, a bit before, and then I'll do an after. This is only going to be a minute or so. So this is your before. You can see this side's been getting hooked. Like I said, the caliper on this side's just got no handbrake performance at all. So got the new caliper for this. Put a Padgett one, ignore the box reasons. So a new caliper is going on this side, and obviously the disc is knackered and a new set of pads. The other side, the caliper, we've wound it back. It was a bit tight, but it's gone. That'll be the monitor, obviously, for the new disc. So that's wound back, new disc on, and I've got the pads over there to go in. But on the slider, on the caliper carrier, these things here, the sliders, which I'll show you on the bench, one of them was just a bit tight. Obviously this one here was free, but as you can see, the elements have gotten into that one. Always when you're doing brakes, for God's sake, do not just ignore these things, because these stop them from actually being able to slide. So what I do is I get the impact gun, spin it, it strips off all the rubbish, and you've just got to take your time, get some sandpaper, clean this shaft. And the best stuff to use in here is, again, my old friend, the silicone grease mint stuff. This absolutely great, and they'll be nice and free. Then obviously you clean these, which are your pads, your sliders for your pads, your guides. You obviously clean them as much as you can. They get distorted a bit at this age, but I have actually got a new tool I'm going to try on these from Lidl's. One of the world's smallest hand grinders you'll ever find. And they are absolutely great. Tiny little razor thin disc just for getting in to clean the caliper carriers. I'm actually going to set this up and clean the because what you do is you've got to take off the shims, because under these shims they really swell up with corrosion. So I'm going to get on with that now. Come back to you when we've got it all built up, and hopefully Holly will have a functioning handbrake again, which worries us because where she works in Morpeth, the other day it actually opened my eyes up to how dangerous it was. The main hill that goes into Morpeth under the bridge at the railway station, Morpeth train station, the council, the idiots who run the council as usual, have decided to put a zebra crossing on a massive steep hill for no reason. For years that was fine as it was with a crossing point, but now they've put a zebra crossing there, meaning that when you're on that hill, people are constantly crossing it. You've got to keep with the handbrake. Well, obviously with her car, the handbrake not working, but it's ridiculous because it's that busy, the path. You're continuously having to stop. And if anybody else does know Morpeth, when you get to the bottom of the hill, to the roundabout where you can turn left to go towards Clifton, they've put a zebra crossing right on the roundabout, and it's caught me out a few times where it's that wide, the crossing, somebody stand at the other side, right out of your field of vision, you turn, and there's not even a little Ford Fiesta's width of space. And what's done happen a few times, even with a caravan on, you've gone to pull out, clear, obviously you look right, you look left, to check, you're not normally looking on a roundabout what's going on at the other side of the roundabout for somebody standing there. I'm not quite sure the highway code for that one, because it's a zebra crossing where there's one side of the road, an island, and then another bit, so I'm just not sure if you don't actually have to stop until they're in the centre of the crossing. Anybody good with the highway code, let me know. But yeah, it is bad dodgy in Morpeth for Holly when there's traffic, when you're stuck on that big hill coming out of Morpeth. So that's why I'm getting this in as soon as possible to get sorted for her. Hence, she said with the Mondeo, as you've seen, brand new back calipers, discs and pads. Even for me for once, it's nice to have two cars with functioning handbrakes. But unfortunately, this Audi's got the old electronic handbrake, which I hate. But one thing is, it's great. It works anywhere. But I don't tend to use it because I know how expensive they are when they go wrong. So when this car stands, the handbrake gets left off. It only ever gets used when required. So I'll come back to you when that's fully built up. Catch you soon, guys.